It's world famous swag in the morning. Yeah, I said it in my Mr. Magic's voice. The world famous swag in the morning. I'm your brother Prince Cree.
And I'm your girl, Lady D.
Lady D, before we get into this amazing guest, man, tell everybody what swag means.
Swag means say with amazing grace.
And morning don't mean daytime because we're live. It's the nighttime, but morning means new hope, new beginning, freedom from being in the darkness.
That's right.
And when I tell you, this brother is going to bring you into the light.
That's right.
So, Lady D, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I know this is little unusual for us because we rock on Thursdays.
Yeah.
But I had to make a special put aside day to bring this guest in.
Well, I knew it was a special guest when you said we was going to do it on a Monday.
Yeah, because
I knew
normally I'll just be getting ready for football, hoping that my Yankees will be playing. But again, I'm brokenhearted, and our guest right now is a Yankees fan, and I don't even want to ask no questions about that because he might just be he might just hang up and just end the interview. But look, lady, all the stuff that's going on in the world today, this is one thing I'm going to encourage you guys to do.
Yes.
Go out and vote.
Vote, please.
Vote. We're going to speak to our guest about voting. He's back on the ballot again in his county as a sheriff. And hey, I might move there to just be that one vote. We're going to talk about that. I'm not going to let it all out of the bag, but we're just going to let him get the stage.
That's right.
I call this a subtitle, Lady D. I call it Mouth in Motion. Mind over matter, mouth in motion.
Okay.
You don't know why, right? I'm dying to tell you why.
Tell me why.
Because this gentleman that's going to get on this interview for a few minutes, he put his mouth, right? When he put his mouth on something, when he say something, he's doing it.
Okay. I like that.
And look, and I thought of that when I was speaking to him. I said, you know what? Mind over matter, mouth in motion. Because what he speak about, he puts it in motion.
Come on, you were smart with that one.
Yeah. Lady D, I know you hating on the law. I know you hating on the law. I know you just over there like, yeah, he think that's like a really so big.
That was really good, though. That was really good.
Mind over matter, because you're going to understand how he's focused on mental health.
Right.
He's deep.
Come on.
Put your hand. Look. Don't take my word for it.
Take it.
Not as if I'm a liar, but don't take my word for it. Put your hands together for my brother, Sheriff Garry McFadden.
Yes. Well,
Thank you all.
Yes, I love it.
What's going on, family member?
Well, look, you can talk to me about anything except the New York Yankees right now. So other than that, I put up my pinstripe shirt, my hat, and everything else. And actually, this is the last, because we're going to chop it up more than this tonight. But the next time you'll see me in my suits, because I wear a three-piece suit every day. But today I'm so mad, I just had to put everything off because I'm like, okay, why do we win everything except the pennant? And so my Yankee hat is sitting over in the corner. I'm going to take it and throw it up in the closet like I always do. And then next season, I'll buy another hat and hope that they win the World Series. If not, I'll just have a closet full of Yankee hats. But I'm good. So,
I know you are.
We got rings. We break records. But, I've been a Yankee fan all my life. So I'm just hurt.
So have I.
I'm hurt. But I thank you all for allowing me to be a voice tonight. And, let me first say it. If I hurt anybody's feelings, okay, that's good. I probably will. And we're going to move on. And because and let me apologize now because I get excited when I talk because I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. And I heard Deion Sanders say something the other day, don't let my confidence, interrupt your insecurities. And so if I say something, it's because I have been through it. This is my 40th year in law enforcement. So when I tell people, I'm speaking factual, not emotionally. And so I can tell you things that you probably believe that well, I don't. And then here's the only thing you may say. Well, I don't believe that. Well, that's what they want you to say. You don't believe that, but you have nothing else factual to come against me when I say that. Just because you don't believe it, okay, great, that's fine. But then what do you have factual to compare it with or say that's not true. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I hope to get into it, but I'm hoping that this is not my, the last inning. I'm going to talk baseball. I
You're,
hope this is the last inning, and so then we can talk about it some other time.
look,
So
you already know. You already know what I said. Mind over matter, mouth in motion. I'm thinking of that being a segment for you.
Hey.
well, I thank y'all because I have no business being the sheriff. I have no business being the sheriff. But here's what I want you to do after we do this: research how powerful sheriffs are across America. And this is why they don't tell you about these positions as much as we do in the past. And that will tell you something.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. First of all, let's go backwards because I know you, big bro. Tell everybody who you are. The stage is yours right now for this
Okay.
introduction.
Okay. My name is Garry McFadden. And that's Garry with two R's. That's a joke, but I like to say that, but that's Garry with two R's. It's not a joke, but that's my mother named me. But that is something they came against me when I was running because they said, well, he's forging his name because his name is spelled Garry with one R, but no, it's Garry with two R's. I'm the 45th sheriff of Mecklenburg County in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm the first Black sheriff that have ever had in the 250 some years here in North Carolina. I first started my, thank you. I first started my law enforcement career with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department in 1982. And
Wow.
so after 3 years on that department, they moved me to a detective status. And from that moment on until 2011, I was a detective. So I'm their longest reigning detective in the department history. Now, some people say that I'm a legendary homicide detective because I have never, I have not solved all the cases that I have investigated. But if I ever charge you with a homicide, which is a murder, I have a perfect record in court. There is not a lawyer has ever won a case against me when we're
Wow.
talking about homicide investigations. So that's who I am. So then after I retired from Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, I thought I was going to just go away, but they kept me for an additional 7 years. And during that 7 years, ID Discovery picked me up to talk about my life as a homicide detective. So I had four seasons with ID with a series called I Am Homicide, or either Bad Henry or Homicide Charlotte. So they did all these series about my career with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. I have done every presidential detail since Ronald Reagan. And some people say, well, they have done presidential details also. But when you said you have an E-pin, that means that you were close enough to the president where you will be at the podium. So my last detail was the podium of the president, which I'm very happy to say, because when I first started off, I was basically in a closet with Secret Service. But then, as you stick with it, I became very well known. And so they had me to, actually, my last credential says podium of the presidents, which I'm very proud. Then we created me and a 3-time convicted felon. And that's probably the only time I'm going to say convicted felon, because we think terminology is important. So we say justice involved. So somebody pushed me and this guy together to create something called cops. Well, we created this thing that we didn't know what it was going to be called. And so I took the name and said Cops and Barbers, because as kids, you play cops and robbers. So we think this thing said Cops and Barbers, which is an initiative to bring the Black community and law enforcement together. And it became a catalyst in the community here and sometimes across the nation. Some people don't want to say it went across the nation, but it did. We're even out in Seattle, Washington. But if you Google all this, and we can talk about it later, Sean Corbett, Corbett, Sean Corbett, became the first Black business that Walmart allowed to be inside of their business. And now he has barbershops all in the Southeast, and we hope to spread them out across the United States. But basically, that's it. I don't want to take up more time because it's not about me. It's about the conversation and what we can talk about.
Well, I told you I enjoy speaking with you.
Yes.
You have so much wisdom, so much. Again, when I spoke to you for the first time, I felt the passion. There's a lot of things people can speak and do the talk, but
Yeah.
you can feel the passion that you have. I was feeling it over the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to jump right into this because I know that your focus. First of all, what term are you on? Like, what's going
This
on
is
with that?
well, this is my second term. I went 4 years, and then I was reelected by the citizens of Mecklenburg County in May of this year. So, and I'm going to be free. I'm going to talk free because I'm not
Absolutely.
afraid to hide anything. So I'm a very progressive sheriff. You'll hear this being progressive is not good. Well, being progressive changes a lot of things that people don't want you to change. Like
Mhm.
I took tear gas off the table because you're not going to fire tear gas with my people. And then we have this law called duty intervene because of George Floyd. My deputies are not going to stand there and watch somebody else assault a citizen and not get involved. So I have these policies that people don't like. So
Yes.
they took some people to come against me that
Mm-hmm.
look like they have the skin tone of us, but I don't think they
Mm-hmm.
have the heart of us. And they
Mm-hmm.
came against me, and I was like, "You have got to be kidding!" And so they understood that my platform, and they rallied against me to vote me out of office. So two people ran against me, and I won by 52% of the vote. And so there is no Republican to run against me in November. But if you do not vote, you don't mean nothing to me. Now, let me say that again.
Yeah.
You can chop it up, you can say this and that, you can boo boo boo, but if you are not voting, you don't have a voice, and they know you don't have a voice. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you don't vote, you are only hurting the people that need help in our communities. So you must vote. If you
Wow.
don't do nothing, you could. Here's what I'm going to tell people: if you want to stand on a corner and sing all day, or if you want to deliver drugs all day, if you want to do anything, do it. But you still need to vote
That's
and
right.
register your vote. If you don't do that, then you could be anybody you want to be, but you're nobody to me because we are allowing people to run our country or be in the place that we need strong leaders. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Talk about
have
it.
your voice, that's it. That's it. So when something goes
Well
wrong
said.
on TV, you can just say what you want to say. Now I can tell you this and tell them the sheriff said it. The people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th is going to vote. They're going to vote because they're on a
Right.
mission to get certain people out. So if you're so mad about
Talk about
January
it.
6th, if you're so mad about January 6th, and you're so mad about all the people who have lost their lives, then vote. Other than that,
Yeah.
I don't hear you. I don't
I
hear you.
agree with you. I
I
agree.
don't hear
Yeah.
you. I don't hear
Yeah.
you.
Danielle White also agrees and said, well said, everybody has to get out, and absolutely we got to get out and vote. Now, listen, before we go any deeper into this conversation, usually here we at the end we usually say, who we feel like you are to us, because when people come on the show, they become family members, right? So I'm just going to say that you're going to be my Uncle Sheriff Garry. That's what I'm going to call you, Uncle Sheriff McFadden. Somebody,
That's
because
it.
I feel like you putting it down, and my uncle is saying something tonight. I'm
I
just
agree.
saying, my uncle is
I
saying
agree.
something.
I
Hey,
We
agree.
don't know. We don't know how powerful we are.
yeah,
That's my problem. If just imagine this, tomorrow we will say that just for one day, if we say we are not buying Nike tomorrow,
yeah,
that's all we said. One day. You can buy it on Thursday, you can buy it on Wednesday, but one day we don't buy anything. Let that be Blackout Friday. Let that be Talk Out Tuesday. If that's the power that we
mm,
have, but we don't realize it because we get into, well, they ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, they ain't gonna do nothing. But you know why they're not gonna do nothing? Oh, because you're not doing anything. I'm
mm-hmm.
sorry, I lost it there. And
No
so
It's
problem.
we
fine.
have to we have to understand the power is in our hands and in our head if we use it. That's it.
Right, right. And that's the problem, that some of us don't believe that the power is actually in our hands. So we feel, because I've heard it so many times, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't really matter. But you don't understand how powerful that one vote is. That one vote can tilt it either way, and we have no idea. And until we get that in our minds and in our hearts,
That's right.
it's not
I'm
going to
I'm gonna
change.
I'm gonna tell you a perfect example. We had a person, if I say too much, people will probably figure it out who knows me or in Charlotte or someplace else. We had a person to run for office here in North Carolina. They lost by 400. and say 10 votes. I think it's 410, 420. That was sad. 400 votes out of about 11 million, right?
Wow.
So when they were talking to me, you know what I said? Well, you know what? I can understand how you lost. And she said, why, Sheriff? I said, well, you lost by 410 votes. I said, do you know that I have 435 votes inside my detention center, because I don't say jail, that nobody came
Come on with it.
I said, well, I said, I have 400, I registered people inside my detention center. And for the viewers, I do not say jail and I do not say inmates. I say detention center or residents, because they are residents inside my facility. And so I said, we had 435 registered votes inside the facility. Now, what we laugh about, brothers and sisters, we even laughed about my residents got their $1,200 checks from the government. Why? Because they had kids, they were citizens, and so we got their COVID impact checks. Now, it was a big joke inside the detention center, because I said, okay, if you got your $1,200, and nobody popping my sprinkler heads now, neither, because if you pop my sprinkler heads, I'm getting your money. And so if you get mad, I'm 2 for 1. You get your money, but you're not going to pop my sprinkler heads, because if you pop my sprinkler heads, I'm charging you $600. So guess what happened? We ain't had no sprinkler heads popping 2 years. You know,
wow.
But imagine bringing back the humanity of it in allowing somebody to vote. But you got to vote.
Yeah,
you got to vote.
Yeah.
Hey, what is this? And again, you read the internet. Sometimes you can't believe everything. I said I was going to ask you that the other day. I was talking with you, but I read something, and you can correct me and clarify it, where that people didn't like your tactics that you were bringing in your facility with your residents. They was like, the things you was doing was unorthodox.
It is.
Can you clarify that and be?
Okay, here's what happens. The authority of the sheriff, I don't have a boss. People say, well, you got a boss. No, I don't. My boss is the people in my county who voted me in. So I don't have to answer to anyone except the people in the community. So what I did is, so I made 4 promises, and here's what I want to say to my viewers and you all. When you have a political person or a politician, you don't have to debate with them, you don't have to fuss with them, you don't have to fight with them. You need to ask them 2 questions, and that's all you need to ask. Okay, Sheriff McFadden, you promised us to do A, B, C, and D. Yes, I did. On your last term, yes, I did. Did you fulfill those promises? That's a yes or no. And if you didn't fulfill your promises, why? So here's what I promised the people in Mecklenburg County when I was running. I was getting away from cooperating with the federal government to an extent with ICE. I was going to bring back in-person visitation. I was going to take away solitary confinement for our juveniles. And so these are things that people are like, why are you doing this? Because I'm bringing back humanity to the facility.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. So I did all these things. And then what happened is, you know, when you're a politician, they say, well, what did you do in the first 100 days? I said, well, I did a whole lot, but I did in the first 45 days what I promised for you to do. So imagine having job fairs inside a detention center. Imagine bringing iPads to every resident inside the detention center so they can go to school, so they can learn, so they can read and write. So I do all these things. And people said, well, they're in jail. They are in a detention center waiting to go to court. So nobody's basically in my facility have been convicted of anything. So prison and your county facilities are different. We are a pretrial facility. So we are holding you before you go to trial. So while you're there, it is my duty to create better citizens than when they came in. So that's what I tell them. I'm creating better citizens no matter when they're released or how long they stay. So they didn't like that. They didn't like for me to treat people with outside the detention center. I change every signage. You know, like you have the billboard that says Mecklenburg County Jail. No, take that down. Put up Mecklenburg County Detention Center.
Wow.
And so when you bring in all that, they were like, okay, he has lost his mind, but it's humanity. Take juveniles out of solitary confinement. Then I created North Carolina's only behavioral health center for men and women inside the detention center.
Wow.
So that was,
Wow.
they never heard that. Then I have, if you ever visit, I have a video out soon, my detention center where this behavioral health, it is in an atmosphere to be at peace with your mind and at yourself, so it doesn't look like the lockup that they want. But
Mm.
when you tell people you haven't had an assault inside your detention center in over a year, then you tell me, yeah, my residents throw stuff on people and maybe don't want to lay down on the floor sometime when they tell them to do something. But a serious assault where they're cutting my staff, beating up my staff for doing that, November of last year.
Wow. That's
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
gets
That's
an applause.
awesome.
Let's
You-
go with grand lady.
You
I'm
know
sorry.
what? Because I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and it's actually, outside the box or against the norm, because we feel like, when they're in these places, right? I feel like sometimes going to those places are much worse because it creates a monster. And it sounds like you put that monster to sleep because you changed the atmosphere, you changed the mind, you changed their mindset because you're treating them different. So they have no other choice but to act different because you're treating them different.
You're
Well
exactly
said.
right. Here's what I try to do. I have a facility. I have a 3,000 bed facility inside my.
Mm.
So imagine, and now we're down to about 1,500 people. But imagine this: you're living in your apartment building in New York somewhere or someplace. Okay, say if you got 1,000 residents and you said, okay, guess what? COVID, and y'all can't even come outside for 2 years. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's the same thing that I'm handling. I got 1,500 people that I got to find something to do with. So
Yeah.
I have a women's conference inside my detention center. Why? Y'all got women
Wow.
conferences at the church. I
Yes.
got guest speakers. I can bring in guest speakers. I can treat, and the women's conference is called Still I Rise.
Mm.
Okay. The men's conference is called Removing the Mask, because 90% of the brothers, we wear a mask every day.
Yes.
We were,
Yes.
so then when we're talking about, and here's what happened. When these people were talking about, you don't know what I went through, I was molested by my uncle, and that's a grown man, and he gets emotional. But imagine this. If one of my detention officers say, bruh, I've been through it too. What? All of a sudden, our event goes from 1 day to 3 days because really that happened to you? Yeah, bro. Just because I'm a guard don't mean it didn't happen to me. Well, since we're here talking about it, let's talk about it.
Let's
And
talk
so
about
then
it. Yeah.
that's removing the mask. I said, bro, I never know that. He said, I can relate. I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when you're talking about these things, it builds character and it builds self-esteem and it takes you away. Because think about it. If you're just sitting in this box all day, ain't but so much of reading you can do. Ain't
That's
but so
right.
much of drawing, ain't but so much of drawing you can do. But when you have activities to come out, it exercises the brain, it exercises the mind. Because I think we talk about mental health is real. And if
Yeah.
Speak
you
about it.
if you didn't go through some mental problems during this pandemic, you told yourself a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all did. We
Yes.
all did. We don't know whether to wear the mask, take off the mask. I don't know whether to shake your hand or hug you. I don't know whether I run outside and wear my mask and I come inside, I
Right.
can't hug you, I can't kiss. That's mental.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go nowhere. And then I don't know if I want to ride a train, I want to ride the bus. Let me walk. If I walk, can I touch the handle? Mentally, that's draining. So
That's
imagine
it.
that, and your finances are bad.
Uh,
You lose loved ones, or you get COVID and you don't know what to do. And so I made it my plan is to educate my residents and staff, but then we treated the residents as a group of people in a town hall meeting. When we got COVID, we had town halls meeting in every part to say, look, we in this together.
wow.
Even I tell them, look, y'all, ain't nobody safe. So if I have a guard, I'll say that for this, if I have a detention officer coughing a lot, y'all better tell somebody.
Mm-hmm.
No, hey, sheriff, this dude been coughing for 2 days. Y'all need to check him out because, we don't want him in our pod, and we had that. But imagine this. people say, well, how effective was that? We did not have one person to die of COVID inside our facility, and we had
Wow.
1,500 cases of COVID, and nobody died.
Wow.
Nobody.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I'm amazed. I'm amazed because I just feel like this is what I feel like reform is all about. Like we say they go in, they go in and they do these things that get them there. And I understand that. And there's many reasons why they may land up there. But what are we doing when they get inside there? And then you're talking about, I want to reform them, but you treat them like they're animals. And I know they probably did some things like they're animals, but how do we change that? And I feel like Uncle Sheriff Garry is doing it. I feel like
Indeed
he's
so.
doing it.
You have to, because and here's what I tell people. I know y'all have figured this out, and the listeners will figure it out. That boy talks a lot of junk. He talk all the time, which I do. But here's what I said. I'm going to be factual. When I started to take this position as sheriff, a lot of people said we need to make sure he is educated, and we need to make sure that he is knowledgeable, and we need to make sure that he has all the resources that he can. So really, I was one of a few sheriffs that they looked around America to say, that's one we can work with. So I went to Germany. I went to Germany and Norway to study prison systems before I even became sheriff. So an organization said, okay, we're going to have to put you in training camp, and then you're going to go to. So I learned from that but on that, it's a guy named Darrell Atkinson. Never forget him. He was justice involved, but now he's a lawyer. And we're riding the bullet train. You're coming through Germany, you think you're somebody, you're riding a train running 200 miles an hour. So we just talking. And he said something to me that I always going to give him credit for. He says, the problem with the criminal justice system is we strip a man of all of his dignity when he gets into the door, and then we try to give him dignity back. And I said, Darrell, what are you talking about? He said, brother, think about this. When you come inside the prison, strip your clothes, take your shoes off, spread your cheek, do all this kind of stuff. You are stripping a man of his dignity at that point. You could do basically the same thing, but with dignity. Brother McFadden, I need you to disrobe, and I need you to you need to turn around. Let me inspect you. Okay. Hand him his jumpsuit, hand him his flip-flops, hand him whatever you need to give him. Said, here's your clothing and here's your stuff. And okay, now you're here for a while. We don't know how long you're going to be here, but we hope that you get involved in some of these programs, get involved in some of the initiatives, and make yourself a better citizen. Is there anything I can do for you during that time? Let me know. We're here to help you. That's totally different than when you say, put this on, give me your number and everything else. That's stripping a man of his dignity. So just giving somebody that humanity in the beginning helps us at the end.
Unc, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Normally this don't happen, but Lady D, I'm just, for the sake of the viewers who don't know, like, you're touching her, because her heart, she's always wanted to come and do prison ministry, teaching finances in detention center. I'm gonna use your word. And when you're speaking, it's just sending tears and chills of joy in her. I can look at her and I can tell. I try to warn her about you, how passionate you are.
Look at it. When you tell Lady D this, Lady D, I'll make sure that y'all get this. We have a program. I'm program crazy, and I love programs. So imagine this. I have something called a haberdashery. I'll send you the pictures of that, because this is the last time y'all will probably see me in a little t-shirt and stuff, because I want y'all to know I do have clothes, I do have a little bit of money, and I do have fine Italian suits. So I know the ladies, I know the brothers on here probably mad for me to say that, but it ain't about y'all right now. So the ladies gonna understand that I got some nice suits, ladies. So I want y'all to say, we like Uncle G in his suits, and then you come back and watch us. But I have a clothes closet. I have a clothes closet for the men inside my detention center, men and women. It's called the haberdashery, because the word haberdashery is the same thing as boutique for women. So imagine going in there and have these suits. But Lady D, let me tell you what I have launched last week. I have a young man who was just as involved 3 different times. He comes out, and we have this thing called the Next Great 50. Not only that we help you get a job, we had, I think 2 years ago, we had a job fair where 58 people got 66 jobs before they got out of the detention center.
Wow.
But here's what we did. So more people say, yay, that's good, yay. I don't do that. I say, yay, we finished that. What else we doing? So now, Lady D, this is gonna. So not only that we have conquered that, and we did the little job fair, and now we're getting jobs. I have a guy, and I may have to put him on there and get y'all on there. So he bugged me, and I thought this is some other knucklehead with an idea. But we have this thing called the Next Great 50, and I'll probably send y'all a clip of it, where this young man comes inside our detention center now for financial literacy, job applications, but we went completely doing something nobody's ever heard. We are now allowing men and women to establish a business before they leave with a LLC. Now, what does that mean? This brother may want to get out and start a lawn care service. So we tell him how to financially start his lawn care. We ain't talking about somebody with 25 people, maybe him and 3 other people start a lawn care service.
Yeah.
But he will have don't fall out, Lady D. He will have a website already built, and he will have an LLC license when he leave our detention center.
Wow.
That ain't never been heard. But it ain't.
Are you from this planet, Oak G?
Listen, when this dude come to me, I'm like, bro, we can do that. He said, but it took us a year because, we can't do this. The stipulation, we can't do that. We can't get the guy credit report. We can't get the social security number. We said, okay, however much time do y'all need to tell us no? When y'all ready to tell us yes, let us know, because we ain't stopping. And so he called me one day. I said, bro, you ever understand this? They don't want us to have it, but they can't stop us from getting it. And so here's what we have to do. No matter what they said that they need, give us the list and we'll check them off. It took us a year to check them off, but when we check it off, they're like, now what? Well, I guess y'all got it. Yes. So he's bringing people in to do financial literacy, get their credit. Because see, here's the crazy part. You've been in jail for 2 years, so your credit score can go up because you ain't got nothing going against your credit.
Nothing to go against it. Yeah.
So, you started to do this financial literacy, get some stuff taken care of. Hey, you may have a little hospital bill on there, a couple bills on there that's messing up your credit. So you can get them taken care of. Then we make sure that you have a LLC, and then everybody can do a website now. So we'll do a website. Now, here's what I know. Somebody's going to go back and tell somebody on the air, because somebody will say, well, he ain't know what he's doing. But here's what I'm going to say. Why are you doing all of this, Sheriff McFadden? If somebody can answer this question, then I'll stop. Here's what I tell people. Well, why are you doing this, Sheriff McFadden? And here's my answer. Well, if you don't want me to do this, tell me how you want me to prepare your neighbor. Because this person is going to be your neighbor one day. So tell me how you want me to prepare your neighbor. So I don't know if it could be your neighbor, could be your cousin neighbor, but this person is going to be somebody's neighbor. So I'm just preparing better neighbors. That's all I'm saying.
I love it.
Wow, that's awesome. But what really, I mean, I love everything that you're doing, and I really applaud you. Like, it really touched my heart. But what really touched my heart and brought tears to my eyes is it brings me back to an experience when you talk about the humility. And I mean, years ago, and I never, the crazy thing is that I never ever dealt with this issue until you brought it up. Like, I've cried about it when it first happened to me. I'm sitting home and bounty hunters come to pick me up. Someone had pressed charges on me. It was a guy who was liking me. He had pressed charges on me. He went down and said we had a baby together. He did everything. He set everything up. And then he went down and he said to them that I had threatened him. After he put a restraining order on me, he had told them I threatened him. I had no idea what was going on, anything. They came and they picked me up, and they picked me up on a Friday. And when they picked me up, they took me straight to the jail. They took me straight there. And me never being in trouble, never doing anything to anybody, I was stripped of my dignity because I had to go in. I had to take all of my clothes off. I had to squat. I had to cough. And then they put me in this little thing and they tell me to take a shower. And then I had to put on their clothes and go and do the things that they were doing. And I'm like, but I didn't do anything. And I had to sit there for 3 days. And so when you talk about the humility, I applaud you and I say thank you, because there are people, I mean, these people do things, but there are some people that may not have.
Right. And
But
that's
the
what I
fact
told
that
them.
even if they've done something, you still treat them like they're humans. You still give them hope so they have that opportunity to change their lives. So that's what really touched me, is that people are losing the humility, but you give it back to them and you let them
We
be human.
I Here's the only thing that I'm afraid of, and my wife says it. She don't know when I'm going to give this job up. This is the best thing I've ever done.
Mm,
It is, besides getting married and have my kids and my grandkids. But when you can change somebody's life, or you walking down the street, and it takes me 30 minutes to cross the street some day I don't come
Talk
out.
about it.
It's like, okay, if I can make it, okay, ain't nobody out, I'll run across the street. If not, somebody, sure. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then that's another hour. you know, I mean, it's just like you can't walk no place and you go nowhere. And even, we went to Bahamas one year, and I'm laying on the beach, and we see this boat go by, and then there's another boat go by, and then it slowed down. And then
oh
somebody,
wow.
Detective McFadden, my wife said, "You've got to be kidding.
You've got
We're
to
in
be
the Bahamas." And so, but it's good because then, it's just people. And that's what I think my only fault is I love people, but I love people who are in crisis. I don't know if that makes sense. I
Yeah,
love
it
to see
makes
people.
sense.
I mean, I love to help people in crisis, and I just love them. And then, when we have picnics, sometimes I go to events 3 and 4 times on a Saturday just to see them. And when the project or the neighborhood or the hood or the block invites you and they don't invite nobody else, people said, "Aren't you scared?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm scared." And they said, "So why do you go?" Because I said, "I want to see what they got to eat." And he says, "What do you mean?" And I said, "No, I'm scared because I don't know what I'm gonna be eating half of the time.
Yeah.
I ain't scared of nothing else. No, no, I ain't scared of nothing else. I ain't scared of nobody else. I'm just come over here and eat this." And I look at this, was that cooked or whatever else? And that's the only time I'm scared. But I tell the people I'm so comfortable that it scares my staff, because I just walk around with no security, nothing, because I don't want people to think that I'm afraid of them. And what
Hmm.
my biggest problem now is when people release from the detention center, I want to get them home. And so I just bought 100 bus transit passes Monday. And when I call up the transit center, oh, here he goes. How many passes? 100. Y'all know I ask 100 every time. So give me 100, because I don't want nobody sitting in the lobby or sitting outside and can't get home. But
Yeah.
then
Right.
what happens is when those people see me out in public, it gives me a good feeling when they say, "Sheriff." And my
Yes.
staff get mad because they don't say sheriff all the time. They'll say Gary, or they say G Money. And I answer to it because I want to see this. But one people said, and I think I told Prince this, one of the most touching things, and I still, if I cry, y'all forgive me, um, that when I was being elected, I have homeless people voted for me.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
that's our guy.
Yeah.
You go on the block, that's our guy.
Hey, Unc G, before, because I'm gonna bring you back. We're gonna bring you back, and I think another Monday, mind over matter, mouth in motion. I'm thinking of something. Before we leave, I need for you to share the story about the baptism.
Is it gonna make me cry?
Okay. No,
Share the
did I
story,
send you?
Unc G.
I send you I'm sorry. Did I send you the email the guy sent me?
I got the email. Now I wish it was somehow I can redact something and show it, but I'm gonna put it on the post, on the promotion. I mean, on the promo, on the after. I can't even think. But this story touches me, Lady D. I'm gonna show you the email
Okay.
off the air
Okay.
so that you'll see this email. But Uncle G, you
So
gotta speak.
I just love people. And so so I have these guys, and I got the guys who we believe that is going away for some time. So we give the guys who are going like 10 or 15 years away, we give them the first, positions in these programs. So this dude came through a program and he said, G, and I hate to say that because that's what they call me. They don't even say sheriff. They just say G. They say, G, I'm about to go to prison, man, but I need you to help me. And I said, well, man, get into the programs. And he got into the programs. He got his GED. He got his electrician license. He got a couple of other certifications. And so he couldn't get a job because he's going to prison. And I said, so what else you need? He said, man, I need to be baptized. I said, what? You need to be baptized. I said, now, I don't know if I can get you baptized, bro. But he said, gee, you got to make this work. So, long story short, I go on and do some other things with him. He got another certificate. He walks up to me and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he looked me straight in my eye and he said, gee, I need to be baptized, man, because I'm facing 10 to 15 years, the minimum of 10 years, the maximum is 15. And I said, man, let me work with you. So I got my staff together and I said, I got a guy who wants to be baptized. How do we get him baptized? Can we take him downstairs and put him in a tub? Well, no, we don't have a tub. Okay, what can we do? So crazily, we went on Amazon and saw a portable pool. And I don't know if I send you a picture, but I'll send you that. A portable pool. I'm like, that's cool. So we had the pool brought in. We went downstairs into a place that I have at the bottom of the building that's made into like an auditorium. So we put the chairs as we are in the church. We brought his family in and we brought a pastor in that he's very close to, and they baptized him. He goes to prison in 2000, I think it's 2020 or 21. It's 2020 or 21. And he's going to serve a 10 to 15 year bid. Last month, he emails us and said, I don't know what happened. I'm out. He says, I need some help because, I wasn't expecting to be out for 10 or 15 years. And he said, y'all got to help me. So we're like, wait a minute. Okay, you still in prison, right? He says, nah, man, they released me.
Wow.
He said, I'm not going to say anything. All I know is God answer prayers.
Yes, he does.
And he emailed us and he gave us this testimony. And it's unbelievable. We have another one that a young lady said, without us, she would never be here. Because she thought about it so many times. And so then what happens is it gives them hope.
Yeah.
And, and I never forget coming from Germany, I was with a young man and he did the same thing. He kind of touched my shoulder and said, Sheriff, when you go back to the United States, understand this. You are somebody's hope. And I said, what do you mean by that? Man. He says, when you walk into that jail, they're going to hope you do a lot of things. So they're going to have hope in that you change the system. So when you walk in there, they're going to say, man, what is he going to do? What if he's going to help us? Or he's going to be like the same people. And somebody's going to say, I hope that he does something different. So that means I'm somebody's hope. And so I live with this guy's looking me in my eye. And he said, I may never see you again, which I don't know if we ever see because I don't even remember his name. And he says, but remember this, my friend, when you walk in there as the head law enforcement officer, you can make things happen when nobody else can because somebody got hope in you. And I have to live with that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why mental
mind
health
over
is
matter.
Also, it is. And that's why mental health is so important to me because these people are locked down with, and some people say the second chance. 90% of these people have never had the first chance. So they don't get it. They ain't never had the first chance. So why you saying they ain't never had a chance? And so you have to give them something to build their esteem and build their character and build self-confidence. And so why continue to strip them of their dignity? Then you can give them this dignity back or never take their dignity. And that's it. And that's why I don't have no problems because these people get out. I don't have to run in and carry a gun and like, oh man, am I scared? No. A thing happened to my daughters. This is crazy. When my kids were growing up, this is crazy. I would drive them through the hoods. And I say, if your car ever break down here, that's the house to go to. You have a car break down here, that's the house to go to. People thought I was
Mm,
crazy.
yeah.
My daughter went to a gas station very, very late at night. And she said she pulled up and somebody said, "What's up, little McFadden?" And my daughter says, "Who?" She said, "We know who you are. Go and get your gas, baby girl. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you out here. Because we know whose
Wow.
daughter you are." And she said, "Dad," I looked at that and he said, "Go ahead. Ain't nobody gonna, we know who you are." And it's not that they was afraid of me. They said, "We will take care of you because we know who your dad is."
Yeah.
That's it. And both of my
Wow.
daughters said they don't get this. A lot of time it's like, yeah, we know who you are. If they stop someplace that is kind of sketchy or get on the transit system and say, okay, we what's up? I know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And they say they feel good about
That's
that,
good.
but they don't hear the same thing, the negativity of other fathers like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
Uncle Sheriff Gary, I'm telling you, you
Uncle
have
G.
totally blessed my life tonight. Um, keep up the
Oh, it's gonna
wonderful
never
work.
stop.
Keep up the wonderful work that you're doing. My prayer for you is that God will continue to use you as He is, because it is just God that is using you. So I
It,
pray for you and your family, covering for you and your family always,
well,
because
thank
you
you.
are doing out of the box
Out of the
stuff.
box stuff.
Out of the box stuff. And
That's why I say,
I
man.
love it, because you know what? They, like they say, you are somebody's hope. Yes, you are.
Yes, it
I
is.
totally believe
Yes,
that.
indeed.
And I'm so glad that God put you where He put you, because He's working mightily through you, and you are definitely doing some reform over there in your detention center. I know that.
We
Hey, Lady D,
we
he
we
got on
know.
me because I said, listen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. I fell back. I figured you was busy, and he let me have it, man. And
Um,
I'm moving
I
forward. I
I
will never not contact him.
Yeah.
I will send
Yeah.
you. I'll keep you abreast of what we're doing. We have Lady D. I can. Here's what the reason I love this, because this is the biggest sandbox that I ever had to play in. That's what I call it, my big
Mm,
sandbox. I got the money, I got the power, and then I was like, okay, what else can I create? What else can? And now people
yes.
say that's crazy. So in November, tell you what I got. I have in Prince, you'll love this. So instead of taking people out of my center for what they call involuntary commitment orders, we're going to do all those involuntary commitments orders inside. So instead of taking somebody to say, we're taking them from here, from Kings County to Bellevue, no, we're going to do everything right here.
Mm,
So we're gonna do that. So we call it's restoration, because people inside of my facilities don't have the comprehension to go to court. So instead of having them sit here for 2 or 3 years thinking that he is mental or is not, we're gonna have him evaluated, and if we have to work with him, we are gonna work with him. And so we're doing that.
wow.
But here's the other part. Y'all don't think I'm crazy. Please don't think I'm crazy.
I don't
So
think you crazy, Uncle G. Not
so
at all.
so so I
You
needed
crazy if
90.
we think you crazy.
Listen, I'm gonna have this program in November. They're going to come to me because, see, I create something today. Whatever I create in September, that's okay. Let's move on to something else. So
Mm,
November, the beginning of November, I got some people flying in that we're going to create a place for men and women to get their CDL driver's license. So if people want to drive trucks or commercial buses and everything else, so they're like, how are you going to do that? Well, here's what happened. Don't invite me someplace and think I'm just coming to get the cheese and the crackers and the fantail shrimp, which I will do. But you're gonna have to. So I will come and eat all your food and listen to you. And so I saw this thing called a sim. I will. I saw this thing called a simulator. Now think about this. When people fly jets, they don't get in a jet and fly it, right?
mm-hmm.
They go into a simulator,
Right.
right? So I saw this guy with the simulator that you can drive commercial trucks and commercial equipment, right? So I said, how much is that? And he says, $90,000. I said, $90,000. So then every time somebody says, hey, Sheriff, what can we do for you? I need $90,000.
Mm.
You ask me what, I need $90,000. Sheriff, is there anything that we can ever help you with? Let us know. $90,000.
Uncle G.
Yes.
And I'll send y'all pictures. So I'm sitting in this thing and I'm working it out and everything else. So this guy says he's going to help me do it, but then he tried to flim-flam a brother. Well, it doesn't. We need $135,000. I'm like, no, we start off with $90,000. So when they started talking to me the other day, I said, look, I don't know what y'all was thinking about. I don't know where this dude come from. I don't know what's happening, but it's $90,000. So we cut him out the deal. We cut out the middleman. So they're going to fly in here in November. So imagine getting a machine, for better things, and to operate a simulator to learn how to drive trucks. Now
Amazing.
But here's the beautiful part. Now, remember that $90,000, and then somebody said they're gonna give me, we need $130,000. Well, I went with them. I need $130,000 now. And so they said, well, we thought you need 90. I do. I need 90 to buy the machine, but I need the extra 40. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to give me the $90,000 and buy my machine. Well, what's the $40,000 for, Sheriff? Oh, well, I got people inside who've been inside and their license is suspended. And so it works greatly because I can call DMV and say, okay, how much is Garry McFadden's traffic ticket? And how much are the fine and fees? $350. Okay, so we're going to cut you a check for $350 and send you his fines and fees so he can get his license reinstated. Okay?
You are awesome.
They went for it, and I'm like, y'all good. So that's what we're going to launch. Man. That's what we're going to probably launch in November. But here's why. I was a homicide detective for 27 years. One of these people who was involved with a case with me came out about 9-10 years ago. And he said, gee, you're the only person I know. Will you vouch for me to go to the school? And I said, yeah. And when I went to vouch for him, the lady said, but he was convicted of, I said he was. But I said, I am. And I said, who knows him more better than I do? And she said, well, if you're going to vouch for that man, we're going to give him his license, let him drive the truck and everything else. So imagine this guy drives all around the country. But imagine this, that will be my first guest speaker at the school.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, because we did butt heads. We did butt heads back in the day because he was involved in something. But he went to the correctional facility, he got out. So he paid his dues. But imagine getting a phone call from a brother and, man, where are you, man? I'm in Nevada, man, delivering peaches. You want something? No, I want none. I said, man, I don't want no peaches. But he still got some game, but it is funny how he still does it. But he just fascinated that he just driving all over the country, making money. Making money.
Wow.
Uncle G, you have
so let us know, man.
You really blessed me tonight.
That's my uncle.
I just hands down. That's my Uncle G.
Oh, he's your Uncle G.
That's it.
He can be yours too.
Oh, he can be my uncle.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm just in love with him. I just
see. Hold on, Lady D. You can't take him away from me.
All right,
look, we're here for the people. But tell the listeners, we love them. Anything I can do for them, please vote. Please take care of each other. And look, never give up. Because if you give up, you're just giving somebody else a space in the line. That's all. They're waiting for you to give up. They're waiting for you to move. That's it.
Mind over matter, mouth in motion. He puts his motion to the mouth to the he put his word is his bond. That's why I love this guy.
Uncle G, you coming back to visit with us, right?
Yeah. Y'all just give me a shot when we can work out some more time. But tell the listeners, leave your boyfriend on the couch, or leave your husband, or leave your girlfriend someplace, and tell them come and get some knowledge and stop thinking that they're cool. And tell them if they don't vote, don't come back over here. If they didn't vote, don't come on the air. Don't come.
Yeah, we got to bring them back in the back, if that's words.
I mean, see, because you're gonna have to say, what are you doing for us?
Yeah.
Now I could make everybody mad, but I won't because they still no, I ain't gonna do that yet. We'll wait
Now,
for next time. We'll wait.
we got more to this story because there's
I might say something and then they'll be all over me over here.
I'm telling you, when I show you the email, Lady D, that's an extent. That's some more conversation.
Yes.
And when I
Yeah.
show you the picture of this drawing you sent me,
Dude,
see, that's some other stuff.
I just feel
We
like
short for
there's so
time.
much-
Huh?
I feel like there's so much to do. When you talk to Uncle G, I feel like there's just so much to do.
Amazing.
we're gonna
Yeah.
listen. If nobody else, we're gonna get them right on here. We're gonna find why we still asking for justice in America, why we not getting justice with the police things. We're gonna do all of that because I'm gonna tell you why. And then when you figure it out, then you're gonna understand.
Oh
That's it.
wow. I can't
That's
wait.
it.
So we gonna bring Uncle
That's
G
it.
back. We gonna bring Uncle G
That's
back.
right.
Yeah, mind over matter,
Mind
mouth
over
in
matter.
motion
Come on.
with Uncle G.
With Uncle G. Yes.
Uncle G, we're gonna pull you out and we're gonna talk a little chat before you go. I love you to life, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, I said
Love me
I.
back. Okay.
I didn't say we.
But you heard me say
I
love me
know
back.
I'm copycat.
Uncle G, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out. We appreciate you, man.
It's World Famous Swag in the morning. That was our Uncle G.
Now, one thing I want to say is that y'all did not tell me y'all was gonna make me cry. Now, nobody ever seen me cry on the show. What's wrong with you?
And that's Uncle G. He's so I told you, when he speak, you can feel the passion.
Yeah.
You can feel the pain. You can feel the sincerity. No job stuff. No vote me in. I'm a flip flop. I told you.
That's it.
I didn't know he was gonna make you cry, Lady D.
Yeah, he made me cry,
Trust me,
but-
that was not our plan.
Mhm.
Until next
anyway,
Monday, maybe.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We're gonna check his time schedule and we're gonna see.
Yeah.
It's World Famous Swag in the morning on a special edition with our Uncle G, Sheriff Garry McFadden, Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. An amazing gift from God.
Yes, sir.
His brother's serious.
Yes.
We see y'all on third. Well, no, we're gonna take some days off.
You taking days off?
We're gonna take some days off after this.
Okay.
I got a lot of content right now. Uncle G's my man. That's my uncle. World Famous Swags. God bless. Oh my goodness. My.